about their bill. They don't need it as bad as we need the reconciliation bill. I don't think cinema is gonna lose a whole lot of sleep if nothing whatsoever gets done. And that's the difficult position that we've been placed in. It is not a level playing field that we are fighting on. We are suffering more. We need more help. Millions of Americans need it bad. And if nothing gets done in the bills, well, we also don't raise the taxes, which is really the only concern of their donors at the end of the day. Okay, one more story. Let's jump into this video.
Ma'am, tell me your badge number right now.
That video that you just saw was taken just 2 days ago at the 8th Street station in Greenwich Village. And it shows Andrew Gilbert, a 27-year-old, who says that he had just gotten off of a train on his way to work. And he approached 2 officers at the subway station who were not wearing masks and asked them to put them on. The rule is they are supposed to be wearing masks. Andrew Gilbert says the male officer was playing dumb and claimed he couldn't hear me. I kept asking him over and over, do you know it's illegal not to wear a mask? I kept asking him the same thing, and then he said, you're being disruptive, which I guess is their key word for doing whatever they want if they declare you disruptive. That is true, that checks out actually. He walked into me, grabbed me and pushed me, grabbed me by the shirt, pushed me to the emergency exit, slammed me through it, was yelling at me how if you're not gonna ride the train, you can get out. And the thing is, on the trains, they have announcements about wearing masks. It says that you have to do it, and they're just choosing not to. And apparently leaders of the MTA there have pleaded with the NYPD to wear masks. And supposedly there's a fine for riders who don't, but they're not riders. They're police, they're not civilians, they're not regular people. They're better than us. They are above the law because they adjudicate the law. And so they just choose not to. And remember, by the way, of like all of the departments of government in terms of compliance with getting vaccinated, cops are about the worst. So I don't know about those 2 individuals. Maybe they're vaccinated. I don't know. But they refuse to wear masks even though the rule is that they're supposed to. And they will not react kindly if you point that out to them, Gary.
You know, the real deal is there are thousands of NYPD cops that are not vaccinated. You said it, you hit the nail on the head. There are police officers who believe that they can live above the law. And the true deal is, like many of the people who go into law enforcement, they can't take criticism. They can't take somebody coming to them and saying, hey, you do what you're supposed to do the way that you're telling us to do what we're supposed to do, right? Because if an engineer on a train comes by and says, hey, we need this person to wear a mask, that cop maskless is gonna come in and say, you need to put a mask on. And if you don't, they'll kick you off the train. And then the question is, do you have a pathogen while you're maskless and you're encountering me that you're passing on to me while you're shoving a man through a gated door, right? Because he asked you to just put a mask on. Are you that soft, man, that somebody can't walk up to you and ask you to put a mask on? If you're that soft, you shouldn't be a cop. It doesn't make you bold and brave about slamming a slim guy into a fence because you got mad because you couldn't put a mask, because you didn't want to put a mask on. What it really says is you're a loser. You're a loser with a badge who can't take somebody asking you to do what is required by the law. And you know what I don't understand about this mask thing? It's not that hard, man. It's really not that hard. You know, it's not like they're saying specifically what kind of mask you have to wear either. You know, it's just like, if you're gonna be around a bunch of other people in an enclosed area, just put a damn mask on, right? And if you're gonna be a cop who actually enforces the rules against other people, won't you follow the rules that you enforce? But much like in other areas, cops don't enforce many rules on themselves. That's why they get away with murder too. So if they're getting away with murder, surely they're gonna get away with not wearing a mask.
Yeah, no, they're not getting fired for it, even though it's being cataloged. There's at NYPD Mask Watch is a Twitter account, and we can go through a few of those. It's just they're just casually just not wearing masks. No, it's too much. I mean, they literally have to wear a uniform, but they won't wear a mask. You know the way that you get them to wear a mask you have like badass black masks and say that the troops in Iraq used to use them. Because they'll use any equipment that came from overseas that was for waging war. Just have it like with a paint job that matches their grenade launcher, and they'll wear it. If it matches their MRAPs, they'll wear it then. Only if it's military equipment. If it's to protect other people, not so much. And that's my last question. Which is this not wearing masks? Is that protecting or is that serving? Which of those two is you not wearing masks? Anyway, yeah, Gary, you're totally right. They're not gonna get any trouble, and if they get people sick, whatever. They don't seem to care. They look casual as hell. Yeah.
They don't care.
Anyway, that is unfortunately all the time that we have. I wish we had a few more minutes, Gary, but it's great to have you back. Very excited to have you back on the network. Where can people follow your work?
You can follow me at Gary Chambers Jr. I thank you, John, and the Damage Report for having us again. It's been a long time, but it's good to be back.
Good to have you here. We got to get you on a power panel soon. I'm gonna talk to the team, try to get you on there with Cenk. Okay, man, have a good one.
Be good.
For those of you at home, thank you so much for watching. I'm gonna go do an interview that'll be up for us very soon. I also wanted to let you know your Thursday homework has now arrived. You can go to the community tab on the YouTube channel and vote in our Garbage People of the Week poll that we've got there. You might scroll down a little bit, but you'll find it. And we've collected some prime garbage for you, and you get to choose which one's gonna be tossed in the can tomorrow. Brett Ehrlich will be joining me as always. Hold on one sec. Indisputable is coming up. Nina Turner's gonna be there. You're not gonna wanna miss it. It's gonna be awesome. And also Reactions, 1 p.m. Pacific time. That's coming up after Indisputable. You can watch Reactions with Ravana. So a lot to look forward to. But until next time, stay safe out there. Stay sane out there. I'll see you soon.
Welcome, it's Indisputable, good to be with you. We have a lot of show on the agenda today. I'm still with you, a little bit under the weather. I do not have COVID, I just have a regular ass cold. And I feel like I'm winning. As I said before, I have a stuffy nose, sore throat, I'm coughing, I'm sneezing. These are regular symptoms. I can do this all day. All right, we got a lot on the agenda. Breaking down news of the day, none other than Senator Nina Turner, TYT contributor, former Ohio State Senator. She's part of the team here at the TYT Network. Okay, top story of the day. An ex-cop who turned NASA executive fired 7 shots into his black neighbor killing his neighbor. And while he was a cop, he killed 2 other people then too. All right? Let me bring you to Michael Hetley. Michael Hetley, a former police officer who later became an executive for NASA, has been found guilty of first-degree murder for killing his black neighbor. Hetley, who was white, let's put up the pictures. Hetley, who was white, had reportedly been feuding with the 24-year-old Javon Prather for years. The former cop who killed 2 people in the line of duty, and let me remind you, 99% of cops will never kill anybody in the line of duty. He killed 2, now 3 people in life. Claimed authorities did little to assist when he made complaints about loud noise and dog droppings that he claimed were emanating from his neighbor's next door townhouse in Springfield, Virginia. On Thursday, October 14th, a jury found 54-year-old Virginia man guilty of shooting the Maryland National Guardsman 7 times. March 2020 is when this happened. Hetley's own Ring video doorbell captured the moments when his front door opened and he began firing at Prather, who was standing on the porch. So this young black male knocks on the door. He knocks on the door, and here comes Hetley, the guy who's a former cop and already has killed 2 people, got 2 bodies on him. He comes out, literally guns blazing. 6 months before the incident, Prather was spotted in a video driving by Hetley's home, shouting at him. During trial, Hetley's attorney argued that the man acted in self-defense in the daily shooting and thought Prather had a gun. The jury did not buy it because it was a damn lie. That's why they didn't buy it. However, the Fairfax County Commonwealth's attorney argued that this was not self-defense and that it was murder in the first degree, which is murder with malice and murder with premeditation. And the attorney told the outlet that the video footage from the home security system played a crucial role in Hetley's conviction. Think about it. Think about it. This guy, former cop, has already killed 2 people in the line of duty, okay? 2. He's a former cop. Now, none of that was reported to any national database. No national database whatsoever had any of that information. You know why? Because it's not mandated. The George Floyd Policing and Accountability Act would have mandated that. That's your policy connection. And maybe he doesn't get the job at NASA if there's an actual transparent database that says, hey, this man is dangerous. But that didn't happen. And he is so emboldened that he decides to kill his neighbor, who was unarmed, who was not threatening his life, nor the life of his family. And now his neighbor is dead. But this man was a problem well before that killing. Literally, bad policy kills people. Let me say that again. Bad policy kills people. Case in point, Senator Turner, you're a big policy person. What do you see here? What are your thoughts?
No, I agree with you, Doug. And I'm so glad you always bring up policy because it's vitally important and it has to be consequences. And there should be a national database by which all members of law enforcement, their records are kept there so that as they're moving from place to place, people know what kind of law enforcement officer they are. You know, looking at what happened to Javon just really within seconds, this man shot Javon several times, just reminded me of what happened in Cleveland in 2014 to young Tamir Rice, who was a 12-year-old little boy. That's right. On a playground, playing on a playground, and in less than 2 seconds of the police officers arriving on the scene, he was shot and killed. No questions asked, no put down your weapon, nothing, even though he had a toy weapon. But I'm saying none of that, even if they didn't know whether it was a toy or not put it down, don't move, none of that. Just out the car, like you said, just guns blazing. So I'm really glad that the jury saw through this and convicted this man. But we need something larger to happen in this country. And I can't tell you how how sick and tired, to quote Fannie Lou Hamer, sick and tired of being sick and tired, because it makes no sense that the Congress has not passed the George Floyd Act. Makes no sense whatsoever, and it's unacceptable. But if and until then, we need states and local governments to take action. They can do that.
Exactly, you make a great point, because local jurisdictions, they have been taking leadership here, right? And you have some states, they're moving in the right direction. You also have some prosecutors who are becoming very creative in how they utilize what's called prosecutorial discretion. And they are creating de facto criminal justice reform without the statutory language around it, because they do have that discretion. And so there's more than one way to skin a cat, as my grandmother would say. Okay, I really don't need much commentary on this foolishness. This is a whole damn math teacher, okay? This person is a trained educator. Here's what this trained educator decided to do in her classroom. Here it is.
I don't know, tomahawks? I don't know, is that right? What that is? Okay. So got to what? 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 So got to no no so got to so got to what? So got so got to what? So got to what? Oh, so got 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 Oh man, I just hurt my toe. My toe. My toe.
The students don't really find that amusing. There's a Native American student in there who found it quite offensive. I find it offensive as well. Let me give you some background to this story. Her name is Candace Reed of John W. North High School. This is in California. According to multiple reports, was filmed by a student in her math class. The student is Native American. All of this was quite ridiculous. That's obvious. The student started recording. Now, it's against policy typically to record in a classroom, but the student started recording because the student felt that violence was being committed against him and that he had the right to record. And I agree 100%. That was extreme. Now, understand this. That's the person, and I want to make a connection here. The person is your implicit or aggressive bias. I don't know which one, but it's one or the other, okay? It's damn offensive. And then there's the institutional bias. Where's the institutional bias? The institution, the school, has said nothing. They are not commenting. They are being silent. They are trying to cover this up. They are trying to provide cover for the teacher. Here's what we're going to do. Let's put up a screenshot of Ms. Reed, Candace Reed. Let's make sure people know who she is. She obviously likes to perform. She wants to be on camera. There you go. All right, that's the teacher, math teacher, okay? Let me also go ahead and share all of the information for the school system. Let's put that up. Now, I'm going to say it like this, okay? Keep playing games as it relates to racism in this country and in your institutions by protecting those who engage in this manner. If you do that, then I only have your institution as a way of contact and point of contact. Let's put it up again. I don't think everybody saw it. Put it up again. You can call and or email the following officials. Principal Jody Gonzalez, that's the number. That's the email address. Deputy Superintendent Tim Walker, that's the number, that's the email address. Assistant Superintendent Dr. Ryan Lewis, and also the Superintendent Hill. Somebody needs to respond, period. All right, Senator Turner, I saw you watching this, shaking your head, because it actually gets worse as it continues.
It does. It was very painful to watch and to listen to this foolery. Wish I could say something much stronger than that, but I'm really glad that you have identified the leadership of this high school. This teacher needs to stick to teaching math. Nothing more, nothing less. Stay at your skill set. Don't step out of your skill set. Stay with math. And I was reading along the text chain, or excuse me, the tweet chain, where some folks are saying she's been doing this since 2012, I believe. So this is nothing new for her. So she's been doing it because she ain't been checked on this. And the idea that it is okay to misappropriate, really take out of context and belittle actually Native American or the indigenous culture of Native Americans is beyond shameful, Doc. It is. I know I got to keep it PG, so I'm just gonna stay right there. But very painful to watch. I'm glad that student recorded. I'm sorry that they had to endure that, but I'm glad that it's out in the open, and there should be some consequences and repercussions.
Yeah, the academic environment should really be an inclusive environment. It is a space for growth, for intellectual discussion, but also for social progression. And when an educator does something like that, and it pisses me off because I'm an educator, when an educator does something like that, it alienates certain students from the learning moment. How can you learn when you're offended like that? How can you learn when you feel marginalized in such a manner? You cannot. You sit there and you sit there quietly, and the barrier comes up. You're not learning, you're upset, you're offended, you're trying to work through it. All right.
And Dr. One more point to that, it reinforces stereotypes too.
It does. It does. There's a school board member, right wing obviously, okay? A school board candidate who has been outed as a white supremacist. You see the picture. This is in suburban Milwaukee, has been shamed. This alleged white supremacist school board candidate has been shamed into deleting her Twitter account after racist and homophobic tweets. Scarlett Johnson, let's put up a picture. Scarlett Johnson, who is one of the organizers behind the McQuan-Thiensville school board recall election, may have made those tweets disappear, but the controversy surrounding them seems to stay, okay? A couple of the tweets shared with the Journal Sentinel include one last year when Johnson sarcastically tweeted, "Yeah, the threat of white supremacy keeps me up at night," with those fateful words posted alongside a picture of a sloth yawning. She later tweeted without any hint of sarcasm that, and I quote, "There exists no white supremacist group in the history of America that has taken more black lives than Planned Parenthood." Yeah. This is the same person who actually denies being a white woman, okay? So Johnson denied being a white woman and said she is actually Puerto Rican, has previously been a victim of racism. This is classic Karenicity here, by the way, which he points to as proof of her inability to be racist. She says she does not have the capacity to be racist because of that particular background. She said, and I quote, "Very hard to prove I'm not a white supremacist," her words. "But considering I have ethnic, curly, very dark hair, I'd probably not be a very good white supremacist." Once again, she said, very hard to prove I'm not a white supremacist. It goes on. Johnson, who was named to former Wisconsin Lieutenant Governor and current Republican gubernatorial candidate Rebecca Cleefish campaign's grassroots leaderboard on Twitter, also offered up a transphobic question. How many gay men want to date men with vaginas? Now remember, she's running for school board, okay? When you're on the school board, you represent a very diverse group of young people, students, as well as parents. That's every school board, okay? But these are the things that she continues to say. Prior to deleting her Twitter account, Johnson liked a tweet that supported the idea of wanting to abolish public schools and outlaw teachers' unions. Those are the tweets. We have the proof. Yeah. But here's the kicker, everybody. She's actually not the only racist person running for that school board position. There are others who are running who have said very similar things. So she's basically a candidate who has engaged in white supremacist talk, bigoted talk, racist talk, and homophobic talk. But she ain't the only one in that race. Isn't that something? Senator Turner, we said this was going to start happening, that people like this, the worst among us, will seek political power. And here it is.
And they will continue to do so. I mean, they definitely do feel emboldened. And this woman should be nowhere near a school board. And let me just clear this up. Systemic racism, is different from an individual being a bigot.
That's right.
And anybody can be a bigot, anybody can be prejudiced.
Yep.
So her throwing up that she might not be white, it doesn't matter if she was purple or green, she is a bigot. And there is something called anti-blackness, and it was on full display with this woman. Now, when we talk about systems, she is running for a school board, which is a body of power. If she is successful within that body of power, the system itself can be racist, and that is a power relationship. Doc, we need to have a whole show and educate folks. So she can't run away from it. Anybody, not just white people, can be anti-black, can subscribe to racism, bigotry. People of color can be bigots and prejudiced. But when we talk about systemic racism and a power dynamic, that's when we tease out, where people stand based on their ethnic heritage or their racial identity. But she's a bigot, no doubt.
Yeah, and the racism, I tell my college students this to hit on your point, Senator. The racism that we typically discuss is structural. We're talking about structural racism, right? That means if you're not actively deconstructing structural racism, you are either a volunteer as participant or you are unwilling as a participant, but the outcome is the same for those who experience the bias of structural racism. So if you're not engaging in deconstructing that model, you are engaging in protecting and constructing the model. All right, we got more on the other side. It's indisputable. Stick and stay.
So a lot of progressive office holders are doing something fun. I like fun. They're doing the last 2 years in 2 minutes. Okay, we're gonna try it here. First, I wanna let you guys know about the years before that. Hey, remember we started the Just Democrats here on the Young Turks. It was officially launched on our air, basically by you guys. And then we featured AOC, we featured Cori Bush, and Ro Khanna became the first ever Just Democrat incumbent, all on the Young Turks. Now, the last 2 years have been a spectacular follow-up to that. So let's put the 2 minutes on the clock and do this. Young Turks got to start back in 2002, and I think we've been an important part of the progressive movement ever since. What we mainly do is amplify the progressive voice and candidates out there, and I think we've done a pretty good job. Right now, we're currently #1 most engaged news politics network online, beating CNN, Fox News, and MSNBC, all of them. We're #1 in total minutes watched. That means not only the number of people watching, but how long they watch. We just crossed 20 million followers and 500 million monthly views. Now, why? That's because actually the country's progressive. It's 2/3 progressive. And you guys have allowed us to be your voice, and we're incredibly thankful for that. So what did we do with that voice? Well, let's look at 2019. We went all over the country talking to you guys and the candidates. So we were in Miami, we were in Detroit, we were in Houston, and we were in Iowa. In fact, we were all over Iowa. You guys were all over Iowa, and all of the candidates saw you guys. We had wonderful people speaking, like the one and only Nina Turner at our rallies. Bernie Sanders stopped by, Andrew Yang, Elizabeth Warren. We interviewed almost everyone on the campaign trail, with the exception of Biden and Buttigieg. And we held them accountable. We even did a progressive economic pledge, and so many wonderful people signed on to that. Bernie Sanders, Warren, Marianne Williamson, AOC, the entire squad, Justice Democrats, and so many others. Now, on top of all that, we started a show called The Conversation, where we featured so many progressive thinkers, writers, and candidates. And one of the candidates we featured in 2019 was Jamal Bowman. Here comes Jamal Bowman. Then we had an amazing 2020. We hired a climate reporter. Damage Report passed 500,000 subscribers. Young Turks passed 5 million subscribers. We're getting the message out to more and more people. Bernie Sanders comes on in the heat of the primary. He comes on after the election to say what we're gonna do for the future. And then Marie Newman wins. Jamal Bowman wins. Cori Bush wins. And then just when you thought it couldn't get any better, here comes Nina Turner. Hello, somebody. And she's running for Congress, and she comes on the Young Turks first. On election week, we had nearly 2 million hours of viewing. We're #1 destination for progressives. You made all that happen. This is amazing, and thank you for those 2 years. What, I went past 2 minutes? Of course!
Viewers had asked for an interview with the TYT Lizard. Mr. Lizard. Oh, you changed colors today. Nice. I don't even know how you feel about us. Do you even like us?
Well, you guys made me this awesome house, so I'm kind of in your debt. I was found outside on the street, and you gave me a home. Granted, it was a really crappy home for a while, but then through the power of fundraising, I became a person who has a multi-level Trump-style mansion.
You do. By the way, you've never looked better, man. Normally, you're just green or just brown, but today you're in mid-lizard, right?
I'm not very smart. I'm a lizard, so I don't know how the science works. I guess this is just my mood. It's not every day that thresholds like this are broken. I'm just so excited. I can't contain my pigmentation.
And now you're showing it off.
Yep.
Look. I've never seen the lizard like this before.
All right, welcome back. So here's the thing, I know 2 times, this is my 2nd time not wearing a tie on Indisputable. The first time I had on my I Wish a Karen Would t-shirt. The 2nd time I have on me. Yes, the merchandise is available. Literally, these folks at TYT made a shirt with my picture on it, okay? I love it. All right, you can get that merchandise, shoptyt.com, shoptyt.com. All right, make that happen. And we're looking at the anti-Karen shirts. We're looking at it. I got some emails going with the team. It's in high demand. Power Hour tonight. Power Hour with Senator Nina Turner after the Young Turks at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Yeah. Villain superhero type thing. She's a superhero. But let me tell you something, she's more like Batman, which means she can be the villain if she needs to, okay? She can do both. Get your membership right now, tyt.com/join, tyt.com/join. Remember we covered a story a few days ago about Miss Shantel Arnold. She was walking, brutally assaulted by a sheriff deputy in Jefferson Parish, that's Louisiana. She had already been assaulted by a group of teenagers. He assaulted her again. She got charged with nothing, got her head bashed, got a body bashed, thrown around like a rag doll. Well, that police agency is playing games too. They don't want to release the name of the deputy. They don't want to tell us details about the investigation, how they're looking into this. All right, so we are starting a petition. We started this petition yesterday. Already has well over 4,000 signatures. We want to get it to 10,000 before this week is out, okay? Real simple, go to tyt.com/petitions, tyt.com/petitions. It's the first petition on that page, all right? Make sure you sign it. Make sure you take the link, get others in your orbit to sign it as well, all right? We're gonna get 10,000 signatures in support of Shantel Arnold. And remember, the reason why cops do this to individuals who are victims in particular is because they don't believe that person is connected to a community. Well, we wanna let them know she's connected to a strong community, all right? Okay. Reactions with Rayvana after Indisputable. Twitch.tv/TYT. That's every Thursday, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Pacific Time. Beautiful stuff. And don't forget to watch The Conversation and all of that great jazz. Beautiful things over there. You can watch all of those interviews at youtube.com/TYT Conversation. But join live, tyt.com/live. Boom. Let me read some of these amazing comments. Mickey C, the silver-haired dragon says, so now not cleaning up after one's dog is a capital offense. To that guy was. Colorado Blue Blazer regular, a math problem for that math teacher. One really stupid thought, plus one really stupid person, plus one complete lack of judgment equals X. Solve for X. Yeah. Potion seller, I'm speechless. What kind of drugs was she on to do this so comfortably in front of her students? Eric the Red, I guess we'll have to hope they split the racist vote, talking about those school board members running. Yeah. YouTube super chat, Bernie the Kiwi Dragon. Is having a gun even a defense anymore in a country flooded with guns? Izzy Roberts, in the UK, when applying for any responsible job, you're obliged to a CRB check. Check your criminal history. This is the sort of thing that needs to be done in the US. Yep. Rosie, the teacher is a shipwreck. That goes without saying. I mean, Moon Dragon, this is why native dress is banned in costume stores. That's exactly right. Completely banned. All right. Andres Polgarin, how do you as an educator wake up in the morning and think, yeah, I want to teach this lesson that way? And according to the narrative, she had been doing this for years. All right. Twitch, Tahira Kathleen, I swear once they kill one person, killing more gets easier each time. It's possible. It's a damn shame. Mark Bugs, AKA MBZ. How are you so awesome, Dr. Richie? I need to take a like and life purpose course or somewhere else with you. We need more role models like you and the Nina Turner. So happy that our black boys and girls have role models that are not just ball players or rappers. Thanks for reminding us you can be great no matter what. And that's right, you can be great as a ball player and rapper too, all of it. And thank you for that. Jax Drax says, anyone who denies the existence of white supremacy is a white supremacist. This is funny. Trash Cat, I think is Lionel, says she sounds like a damn Pokemon, a crappy one. 2 meter troll. Funny, I am not a trained educator, and I've been teaching for most of my adult life, and I know this is wrong. That's right. Okay. This is a really interesting one, okay? You know, I may have to give this Karen a pass because some people tell me I don't smoke, but some people tell me when you're having a nicotine craving, it is what it is. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish a Karen would.
You want to call the police on them for having a barbecue on a Sunday?
I feel free! Back off!
I'm going to tell them there's an African-American man threatening my life.
I'm sick of it! I'm just sick of it!
Whoa.
Go split! No, just calm down now, calm down. All I want to say is you just need to...
Mate, please. I will throw what I want. I tell you what. Give me a packet of patches. I might as well have them. Because when I come here and then when I'm bloody ass full them all, you might as well give me a packet of bloody patches. I'm sick of it. I'm not having it. Don't laugh at me, mate. I'll f***ing have ya.
Oh, no.
Go on, get him.
Manager.
Get him now.
Oh, no.
So let me say this. The way she took off her coat inside of that store reminded me of my homeboy, Nard from Glenwood Road. Anytime it was time for it to go down, he took off his coat the exact same way. Sometimes he did it, he didn't even have on a coat. I don't understand how he did it, he pulled it off. All right, here's the thing. This particular Karen wanted cigarettes, they were out of cigarettes. So she wanted nicotine patches. She needed a nicotine fix. So remember, we are keeping a log of Karenicity. So it looks to me that Karenicity combined with a nicotine need is deadly. This was a hell of a combination. She was willing to engage in physical combat because the store simply did not have it. Now remember, this is not the only store. You can go to the other store. I'm sure no matter where you are, the other store exists somewhere. Nina Turner, Senator Turner, I don't know. I'm holding her 80% responsible because people tell me that when you have a nicotine craving, it's hell. So, what are your thoughts?
That's what I'm told too. I mean, I never smoked, but certainly I've had lots of people in my life who did smoke, and it's like it's an itch, baby. You can't shake it. It can only be scratched if you get that nicotine fix. And Karen was ready to go to blows, baby, over that cigarette or nicotine patch. Don't get in the way.
Don't get in the way.
Do not get in the way.
All right. On a more serious note, here's one of those male Karens who really thought because he was able to continue verbally abusing another person and talking down to another person, that the people around him, this particular male Karen, were not paying attention. Well, they decided to rise up. This is what we call our anti-Karens. Here it is.
You're screaming at employees in Walmart. Get out of here.
Not racist.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
The United States doesn't have an official language, jackass. Come on, step to me, you.
He messed around and found out, didn't he? Okay, you saw what happened here. This individual decided to be verbally aggressive. There's an argument. Everybody stayed out of it. They said, hey, it's an argument between two adults. We're not in it, okay? And then he thought, obviously, well, hell, if nobody's going to say anything about the way I'm talking to this passenger, let me take it a step further. What if and like I said, he messed around and found out. Now listen, I don't condone violence. To me, this was the protection of an individual. This is in the spirit of defense, not the spirit of hyperaggression. This person needed to be stopped because he was physically assaulting another individual, unprovoked, by the way. He was not defending himself, he just wanted to physically assault someone else. But what I'm proud to see here, once again, we're highlighting a dynamic that's happening across America and really globally. You have people standing up, willing to get involved and stopping this kind of behavior as it relates to Karens, male Karens and female Karens, man, woman, whoever it is, because Karenicity is very dangerous, all right? Making a big deal out of something that's not a deal at all. Senator Turner, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm with you, Doc. I mean, definitely, I'm so glad that they stepped in for this woman and did not let this man put his hands on her. He took it too far and he was met with like force. That's what went down. It reminds me, I mean, I know I bring it up often, but the Cedric the Entertainer skit when he said certain people live by the wish creed and others live by I hope. Well, that was I wish a mofo would moment right there. And I'm glad they stood up and defended her honor.
Yeah, and it was so quick. I mean, it was almost as if they were waiting to see if this would happen. They responded,
yeah,
right. Yeah, so even when it seemed as if they were not paying attention, because when you look at the video, it doesn't seem as if the passengers are really involved in the conversation. They're not looking at the conversation. Most of them are actually looking away. They were paying attention. And that's something that, yeah, we need to note that because listen, pay attention. Everybody, pay attention. And people are paying attention now more and more. Glad to see these anti-Karens rise to the occasion every time.
Amen.
All right. We got more on the other side. Don't forget, sign the petition. Sign the petition for Ms. Arnold. We are making that move happen. Well over 4,000 signatures. We just started it yesterday. You have made virtually all of those signatures happen. Make sure you sign this petition, okay? Right now, we have, how many we got? Last I checked, it was like 4,000, going close to 4,200. I'm sure we are well over that by now, okay? But you can sign that petition. Go to tyt.com/petitions, and it is the first one that you see. But what else I need you to do is to take that link, share that link to your circle, and don't take for granted that people on your timeline are going to do the right thing. Call somebody, call them, say, hey, I'm gonna text you this link, or I'm going to tag you. I need you to do something with this link. I need you to sign it. I need you to share it with your network as well. And we can get this done. We can get our 10,000 signatures by the end of this week, okay? Not difficult to do, all right? I appreciate you in advance. We got more on the other side. Is indisputable, stick and stay.
You're about to watch some behind the scenes footage of the Young Turks.
Ooh.
Now these are partial videos. If you want to get all of them, you become a member, go to tyt.com/join, and you'll get all the behind the scenes of me, Anna, John, JR, a little bit reality show like. tyt.com/join and enjoy this.
You know what you're seeing behind me? Jersey, hold. Watch me flip this camera. However I flip it. Do I flip it like this? No, I just took a picture. I'm bitsing right now.
What?
Behind the scenes.
Oh, okay. For members? I don't have my face on.
She doesn't have her face on, folks. Oh, that's JR's ass right there.
You can't take 5 minutes off, can you?
No, I can't, Johnny Pie. I said it was live stream, but I was lying. It's not a live stream. It's just for members. Bitsy, this is my cat. You know what his name is? Kiki Cat.
Animals are innocent.
Control room and the insanity is obviously there.
Right now, as you can see, I'm directing or tech directing.
I'm so happy to be here.
This is what like a Labor Day beard looks like for Jank. Man, you're a Young Turks viewer if you recognize me like this.
Oh, thank you. You are the one person in my life I would love to meet.
What's going on, guys? This is a Bitsy or a BTS or behind the scenes with Hassan Piker, aka Woke Bay.
Oh, hi, I didn't see you there.
I have finished my show, The Damage Report, and now I get into a really awkward time of the day.
When I'm sitting, the control room is right there. So I can see Bart.
And this is the Pittsburgh office, by the way. Referred to often as the boiler room.
You see how it's ripped? Is it super unprofessional to wear that at a business meeting? Or am I like cool, rebel?
I just finished doing the power panel and I'm fired up.
What do you do for TYT?
Not a whole lot.
If you're frantically tweeting at us that something's broken, thank you, because I'm fixing it.
And thank you for being a TYT member.
Super last thing, because there's always got to be a super last thing.
Oh, that was disastrous.
This has been behind the scenes, behind the scenes.
Welcome to Indisputable. I'm your host, Dr. Rashad Richard. We got a lot happening today. But what do we do on this show? We tell the truth. You know why we tell the truth? Because the truth is simply indisputable.
Rashad, great to be here. Congratulations on the new show. And I gotta let everybody know that Rashad and I go way back.
Here's the pattern that we see in all of these Karen stories. They think they own stuff they do not own. Now, where does that come from? I don't know, maybe slavery. Maybe they think they should still own black people.
This is what happens when Karens weaponize the police.
When you're used to privilege, equality seems like oppression.
It hits you in a certain way when someone is holding you against your will, treating you like you're a criminal and you're an innocent person. This is something that black people face no matter where they are.
A stronger black economy lends itself to a stronger, greater economy. Don't think it's exclusive of you, it's inclusive of you.
What's your beef with critical race theory?
It adds more fuel to the fire of the racist tendencies that we already have.
We have a generation of problem solvers that can remedy the problem if they are properly taught what the problem is.
You know who created redlining in this country? The white liberal.
I don't give a damn who created it. If it's a racist policy, Shelley, here's what I don't know. I don't know. See, there you go filibustering, brother. You're scared of this truth, but you're gonna get it, though.
Climate is changing fundamentally, extremely, and non-linearly. It's becoming worse now. It's not when the levees burst that is the problem. It's in the anticipation of that.
So I hope every human being is safe. And by human beings, I do not include multinational corporations, especially the ones that started climate change in the first place.
What we're currently doing right now in cutting emissions is clearly not enough. There will be ramifications to what Trump is doing. I don't want people to suffer, but I feel like there's gonna be a lot of suffering because we have an imbecile as our leader.
All right, welcome back. We got a lot of comments. Let's get to it. Okay, TYT member. Starshine song Dragon. I think a show or segment based on that would be very interesting, talking about what Senator Turner recommended. I think it would be helpful for people to better be better allies and maybe even understand things on a deeper level than they did before. I agree 100%. And we'll make something happen, okay? Eileen, Funky Cole, Medina, Mama Dragon. Is there a global supply issue on cigarettes? I don't think so. And I find it really interesting. Like we could run out of everything. We run out of gas. Yeah, we've run out of gas before. I don't remember ever running out of cigarettes in America. Whoever is the cigarette person needs to be the gas person. That's what I'm saying, okay? Colorado Blue Blazer regular. Glad those people stood up in this case. Wish those pathetic monsters on the Philly subway had defended another person too. Exactly, that was so damn sad and egregious. There's no way, like, I'm not a person that wants more laws, but if you witness something like that and do nothing, I think there should be a law that says you can get arrested for that. Donald Simmons. A smoker Karen, I feel attacked. LOL, I've been there. Hazy Dragon. It's very true. When you need a cig, you need a cig. Forbezilla. I worked at a gas station for 2 years. Never had someone act like that for some cigs. RJ Gabura. I've quit smoking hundreds of times and never did that. Hazy Dragon. They were all just waiting for a reason to jump in. LOL, they were eager. Twitch. Northern Ice Dragon. If they didn't have cigs, then where did she think he was going to get them from? Pull them out of his ass? I don't think she cared. The Karenicity jumbled with the nicotine craving. Nothing's logical anymore. All right, Captain Cornball. That's how it is on the London Underground. Don't make eye contact, but stay alert. All right. Okay. Very sad story. What if I told you that a 10-year-old black kid, disabled, was arrested for a drawing? It actually happened. Black disabled student singled out by police and arrested while her mother was detained over something that the 10-year-old drew. All right? The ACLU has gotten involved. Let me give you some background to this story. The wrongful arrest of a disabled 10-year-old black girl and unlawful detainment of her mother has become the catalyst behind demands for school level change in Hawaii. Okay? That's where this is. At the helm of the demands is the American Civil Liberties Union, which claims the mother, Tamara Taylor, and her daughter were both traumatized by the incident that occurred last year at Hanawa Elementary. January 10th, 2020, let me take you there. Taylor and the ACLU allege her daughter, who was diagnosed as having attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, was singled out by school police for drawing an offensive sketch in retaliation to a non-black student that was bullying her. I don't give a damn what the sketch is. I know some people say, well, what was in the drawing? Who cares? It's a drawing, okay? I don't give a damn what she drew. While the ACLU argues that drawing is an outlet utilized in the student's treatment and in therapy for ADHD, none of that was taken into consideration when school officials removed her from class to be interrogated by police. 10-year-old disabled child arrested, period. You can just stop, period, with that. Arrested. What can a 10-year-old do to get arrested inside of a school building? Over a drawing just adds injury to it, that's it. But it shouldn't happen at all in the first place. Taylor said she was notified of the incident and immediately made her way to the school. This is Mama Bear. Mama has been told what's happening. What does she do? She comes right to the institution. She comes to the school. There she spoke with school officials and officers in a separate part of the building, all while assuming her child was in class. Who's going to assume the 10-year-old is being arrested for a picture? Nobody. So she thought the child was in class. Taylor was informed that the parent of the other student had requested police be called and was considering pressing charges. Wait a minute. So there's no victim because a drawing cannot create a victim. So you're saying that the parent said, hey, you see this drawing? Call the police here. I'm pressing charges. For what? What's the crime? What's the statute? You need a gun? Remember, when you call 911, who are you calling? You're calling a gun to a situation because you think a gun needs to be the remedy. So this parent demands police intervention, okay? Over drawing, 10-year-old. Here it is, there's more. Taylor was informed that the parent of the other student had requested police be called and was considering pressing charges. When Taylor asked if mediation would be possible, the school officials seemingly sided with the other child's parents. Look at that. Look at that. At that point, she was made aware that her child was no longer in class and instead being held in a cold room with officers who had handcuffed her. Taylor's request to be reunited with her child during the questioning was denied. Now see, that's when I would have needed bail money. Okay? My 10-year-old over a drawing, you are arresting her and telling me I cannot see my child inside of the school? It gets deeper. The Department of Education was grossly negligent in not taking reasonable steps to prevent such absurd acts. while also taking extraordinary and offensive steps to prevent Ms. Taylor from protecting or even speaking with her own child. That's what the ACLU wrote, and I stand with the ACLU 100%. In the end, Taylor, the mother, was forced to stand in horror as her handcuffed daughter was transported where? To the police station, where they take all of the criminals. Like a 10-year-old girl, disabled, who made a picture. She was also suspended from school. This is your school to prison pipeline happening at one time. Do you understand? Get them accustomed to being locked up, to being penalized, to being treated like adults while they're children. Your school to prison pipeline right in front of you, all happening at the same time. All our actions the ACLU has expressed proves the agencies involved acted negligently in handling the incident, as well as show a discrepancy in the punishments disabled students face. This is one of the most egregious scenes I have heard about on a school campus, right? This is up there, okay? Senator Turner, I want your thoughts. You've worked in government, you've represented people, you've had to talk to parents, you get involved. What do you see here, and what do you think needs to happen now?
Well, first of all, every institution that was involved in this needs to be reevaluated. The way they handled the situation was not only wrong, it was abhorrent. And when we talk about systemic racism and this is a prime example, people, of the system operating in an anti-Black way. Hello, somebody. I mean, this is it. From the school level officials to the DOE, law enforcement, all of them. You arresting a 10-year-old baby. And that's another thing that I want people to understand. They can go look this up themselves. Black children are often seen as older, treated older than any other children. So hence, they are not allowed to be children because the system itself, people who make up that system treat them different. And that this is not the first time, and God knows it should be the last time, but it's not gonna be the last time unless we raise up our voices. So the entire system needs to answer for the way this mother and her child was treated. And that mama was awfully calm, because I'm with you, Doc. So they definitely would have been taking Sister Turner to jail. Somebody doing my baby like that. My grandmother used to have the saying, somebody going to hell and I'm going to jail. And that's what would have happened that day.
I would have flipped all kind of cafeteria.
I know that's
over.
Right.
At the conclusion of this, Senator Turner, they found out that the 10-year-old child was not even solely responsible for the drawing.
And that other parent too, again, using the police as a weapon against Black folks. Y'all got to stop doing that. This ain't just any Black folks. This was a 10-year-old child, for God's sake. And the mother asked for mediation. I mean, isn't that the responsible
Very
thing
reasonable.
to do?
This mother did everything she was supposed to do. Very reasonable. All right, let me take you to Senator Joe Manchin. Let's just play the video. Here it is.
I can't control rumors, and it's spelled with a B-U-L-L capital B. I asked you, but.
Yeah, the senator is lying. So here's the thing, okay? He has been accused of basically engaging in a very strategic process in order to sell out his party. Manchin's opposition to keep provisions, including Medicare, Medicaid expansion, and expanding child tax credit and measures to address climate change, has been an obstacle that the Democrats have yet to overcome. He told associates that he has a two-step plan for exiting the party. First, he will send a letter to Senator Chuck Schumer, the top Senate Democrat, removing himself from the Democratic leadership of the Senate. He is vice chair of the Senate Democrats Policy and Communications Committee. Manchin hopes that would send a signal. He would then wait and see if that move had any impact on the negotiations. After about a week, he said he would change his voter registration from Democrat to independent Now, all of this is to manipulate the outcome of a policy agenda that he is not supporting, okay? Now, when he's confronted, he says it's bullish. Come on, stop flexing, dude. You got caught. Now, the reporting, this was in Mother Jones. They stand by this. They stand by this. This was his plan. This is what he planned to do. Senator Turner, what are your thoughts?
He already sent a signal. I mean, how many more signals do the Democratic Party need? They gave this man too much power, him and Senator Sinema, over the process in the first place. I'm telling you, as I've said before, I'm gonna say this again. If I were President Joe Biden, I would tell Senator Joe Manchin that I'm relocating the West Wing to West Virginia.
Exactly.
Brother, I ain't got to put up with your foolishness on something of this magnitude, given all the hell that people are catching. I need this agenda to pass. And you know what? Rather than to deal with a Demopublican, I might as well just go and deal with the real thing.
Come on.
That's it.
Sister.
They gave him too much power, Doc, and I'm over it. He keeps just sucking up all the oxygen. This man is set for the rest of his natural life and his children too. But he don't give a care about the children of West Virginia. West Virginia is one of the poorest states in the United States of America. And this dude playing games. These people playing games. And Doc, I'm gonna take this one step further. There are some Democrats hiding behind Manchin and Sinema. You can best believe that.
That's right, they are. They are, and listen, we're gonna have a whole show about that. We gotta break this down segment by segment.
Come on.
All right, because I'll be damned. This cat, he got a lot of protection.
Yes.
And it's Democrats. They playing the other game. All right. This dude, Nicholas Cruz, pleaded guilty to murdering 17 during the murderous rampage. Remember this, Parkland. The high school in Parkland, Florida, was so damn sad. But let me say this: when you see this video, all right, whatever time he got, you need to go ahead and quadruple that. Here's his, I don't know, confession.
I am very sorry for what I did, and I have to live with it every day. And that if I were to get a second chance, I will do everything in my power to try to help others. And I am doing this for you, and I do not care if you do not believe me. And I love you, and I know you don't believe me, but I have to live with this every day, and it brings me nightmares, and I can't live with myself sometimes, but I try to push through because I know that's what you guys would want me to do. I hate drugs, and I believe this country would do better if everyone would stop smoking marijuana and doing all these drugs and causing racism and violence out in the streets. I'm sorry, and I can't even watch TV anymore. And I'm trying my best maintain my composure, and I just want you to know I'm really sorry. And I hope you give me a chance to try to help others. If I believe it's your decision to decide where I go, whether I live or die. Not the jury's, I believe it's your decision. I'm sorry.
Self-serving, one of the most insane guilty pleas I have ever heard in my life, okay? All right, Senator Turner, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, he said he can't live with himself. He can hardly live with himself. Well, you kill people who are not living anymore right now.
Yeah, very sad, very unfortunate. And if I were the judge, whatever time you got, I would have just had to add on to that and say this is the new deal. All right, I appreciate you so much, Senator. Thank you for always joining us every Thursday, and thank you for being part of the team.
Thanks, Doc.
All right, we got more on the other side. The bullpen is next. Stick and stay.
I went to Kentucky Fried Chicken when I had first got my license, like 17 years old or 17, 18, whatever it was. And I'm driving, I think, my dad's Oldsmobile. And I parked it in a place where there was two cars next to me, really tight spot, and a car behind me. I don't even know how I got in there because I'm a terrible driver. Back then I was an even worse driver. And on the roads I'm okay, but in parking spots I have terrible spatial reasoning and I'm a mess. And on my way out, I hit all three cars at once. I broke all records, okay? So I went, as I'm backing out, I went boom, oh and this side hit that car, this side hit this car, and the back hit the third car. Okay? And I got stuck. I didn't know how to get out. Like, I went, okay, this, and then I'm like, no, and then, right? And then finally I had to stop, go inside the KFC and go, A, I'm sorry, I hit a bunch of your cars. They're like, what do you mean a bunch of your cars? I'm like, I don't know.
Wow, there's a B?
Yeah. I'm like, I hit 3 cars. I don't know. So you guys gotta come help me, okay? Okay, so one, my bad. Really sorry about that. Okay, number 2, can someone take my car out? Because I don't want to keep hitting your cars, and I'm incapable of taking it out of this spot.
Now, baby, move that fat, baby, move that fat.
Hi, I'm Brett Ehrlich with Breaking News with Brett Ehrlich. This is Breaking News with Brett Ehrlich. Hi, Brett Ehrlich here. According to EPA head Scott Pruitt, climate change is not happening. He cited a meme on Facebook he saw. When pressed to back up this source, he said it must be accurate because the watermark said it was made by a scientist. So, your move, Truth.
Do all of you know the Young Turks?
An outlet like yourself that are willing to cover this story from the very beginning and that weren't afraid to say, hey, this is something that is legitimate.
And this is why what Cenk and the Young Turks are doing is so important.
Brent Welder is very progressive Democrat. He's a just Democrat. In fact, uncorrupted, not going to take big corporate PAC money. When did you start watching the show and when did you become a member?
So I've been watching for 10 years, an active viewer, but also more importantly, getting out there with causes like Wolfpack.
By the end of our campaign, we had organized about 22,000 individual contributions with an average about $27 a piece. And those initial people were a lot of TYT supporters as well.
They're looking at the world in a very different way than corporate media does.
It takes those early people who believe that can really be the seeds of this movement, and that has been the Young Turks.
Thank you, Cenk Uygur of the Young Turks.
Thank you to TYT and all the progressives around the country that have our backs.
You know, the first and only interviews that we had tonight to be with the Young Turks as well, because you guys have been here from the very beginning, and that's what this night is all about.
And I thank Cenk very much for the very good work that he does.
Thank you so much for all in this together, and the people are so powerful, and we're gonna get it done.
Thank you for your constant support.
It's a pleasure to be with rebels. I like that.
For all of the help that you've given to the Just Democrats, to Wolfpack, to help fellow progressives, thank you guys, to all the Young Turks members that make it possible.
Hey, this is Edwin. Most of you might recognize me, well, not me, mostly my laugh from the main show.
I mean, it's gonna be hard to get the Uygur maneuver on him.
And today, my talent is Rubik's Cubes. You gotta forgive me, it's been at least 5 years since I've competed. So that's why I'm actually going pretty slow. Watch this.
All right, welcome back. We got a lot of comments. Before I go to those comments, let me remind everybody tonight, tune in to the Power Hour with Nina Turner. That's after the Young Turks, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Who's the villain? You got to find out. Sign up for a membership right now, tyt.com/join. All right, make that happen. You don't want to miss it, okay? Also, don't forget to sign our petition. We want the cop revealed and fired who brutally assaulted Ms. Shantel Arnold. You can sign that petition now. Go to tyt.com/petitions. Real simple, real easy. We are well over 4,000 signatures thanks to you, okay? Reactions with Ravana right after Indisputable, Twitch exclusive. Twitch.tv/TYT to check out Reactions with Ravana. Remember, that's every Thursday, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Pacific Time, okay? And the conversation. Never forget the conversation. Real simple, tyt.com/live. Before the Young Turks, the conversation. Okay. All right. Let's read some of these amazing comments. Coming in hot and heavy. TYT member Trador says, these types of moments prove police aren't needed in schools. They don't do anything. When they do act, they make things worse. All right, excuse me, I had to take a drink. I am still under the weather, okay. Excuse me. Just Be Anti-Racist says, my son has ADHD and is also on the autism spectrum. When he was in the 2nd grade, he had a meltdown. Long story short, the principal in school tackled my 2nd grader to the floor and laid on him. That's a damn shame. I'm sorry that happened. I almost lost it, but contained myself long enough to take my son home and love on him. Good for you. Good for you. Excuse me. All right, Spicy Dragon Wings. Good riddance, Joe. Enjoy your billionaire donors with your fellow sellouts. Yeah. You know why he got really mad? I mean, he got really angry. How dare you call me out on my amazing plan? Damn it. I mean, he was really upset. Olivia Alley says he should have said anything. Soft Batch says Joe Manchin is an infiltrator. He is not for the people. He is disgustingly self-serving. Yeah, and they keep just, Joe Biden's like, hey, I'm trying to work with everybody. I don't get it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the bullpen. In the bullpen today, we have Satyet Marar, who is a research associate, Center for Independent Studies, technology writer, and also a policy analyst. Very distinguished career, has been featured all over the place, radio, television. Thank you for joining us. How are you?
Hey, good, thanks, good to be here.
All right, we're gonna chop it up about social media and censorship, okay? As everyone knows, Donald Trump, the former president, has sued Twitter and all of these other companies, saying that they are violating his freedom of speech because of censorship. I find it quite interesting because I don't think he has an understanding of how the freedom of speech actually works. But what are your thoughts? I don't want to presume what you know or believe about that, so give us your sentiment.
Yeah, sure. Look, I think focusing on things like Donald Trump being taken off Twitter is really small fry stuff. I mean, the guy himself, he's got a pretty big platform, and let's be honest, he probably did a lot more for Twitter in terms of drawing eyeballs onto their platform than they ever did for him. But with that being said, we are seeing a disturbing phenomenon these days where both major parties are using social media as a political football. The Democrats want to see more censorship. The Republicans say they want to see less censorship, but censorship really hurts people on both sides. I mean, I got friends of mine on the left side who can't put up, comments about Joseph Stalin, who can't put up criticism often about the Israeli government. I don't necessarily agree with them, but I think these are fair topics to be debated and spoken about. But at the same time, you've got bills being pushed to limit the amount of so-called fake news, medical misinformation, and hate speech on these platforms. Now, there is legitimate fake news, misinformation, and so on these platforms. But in the process of politically pressuring these companies to crack down on it, a lot of innocent speech gets captured in the process. And that ultimately is not good for our society, because we need to have legitimate debate on a lot of these topics. Often our own government agencies, who are the de facto arbiters of truth, or the fact checkers who these companies hire to fact check, often they're completely in the wrong, as it turns out. And I think we should aim to a society where the focus is on skepticism, healthy skepticism, scientific literacy, and civic literacy, because that's the only way we can hold our governments to account and ensure that we are a critical thinking society. Fake news has always been a part of the media sphere, going as far back as the Civil War and so on.
Yeah, but we haven't always had social media, so I can appreciate what you said and how you contextualized it. Let me give you some things to think about, and let me challenge you on a few topics here. You do believe in censorship, right? Some level, correct?
On some level, yeah. We don't want to see pornography on a website where there's children on there. We don't want to see actual open calls for violence. I don't think that you should be able to yell fire in a movie theater and cause a stampede. I don't think that's anyone.
Right. So let me ask you this: are you okay with someone freely using the N-word on social media?
Me personally, and look, I've been called racial slurs before. There are racial slurs that apply to people of an Indian background. I actually I don't think people should be using those slurs. But I personally, it doesn't bother me that people are out there using slurs on social media, because I want to see it. I want it to be open. I want their hate to be out there. And let's face it, tons of racists, if it weren't for their ability to use racial slurs on the internet, they wouldn't be exposed. They wouldn't have any social sanction.
Let me tell you why I disagree with you, and I want you to go back when you get a moment and research the Section 230 Protection Act, which is a Decency and Communications Act that's actually cited in the lawsuit that Donald Trump has filed. I don't want anyone who uses any racial slur to be able to utilize a platform they do not have a right to utilize in the first place. There is no legal nor constitutional right to use social media. It is a privilege. It's an opportunity extended for those who are able to abide by the rules. As a matter of fact, case law has settled that social media is basically like a town square. It is an opportunity for individuals to engage, to converse, to share ideas. But reasonable actions must take place to expel those who do not adhere to decency or community standard. Let me tell you why that's important, brother. When we're talking about social media, do you have children or younger siblings?
No.
Okay, but younger people, they are on social media as well. I have a little girl, she's 15. She's on social media. I don't want her to be subjected to the N-word because people like you or some policy in a particular state says, oh, we cannot deplatform people just because they say something that may be considered hate speech. No, private companies, by way of statute and common law, are able to regulate speech in their domain. This goes for a private company like a store or restaurant. It also goes for a private social media network. They have the ability, the authority to regulate common sense community standards. So my question to you is, man, you think we would have a better world if people are allowed to freely go on social media where children congregate to a level higher than adults and use hate speech on social media? You think that's a better world to live in? Or the world should be a place where opportunities like that are taken away from you if you abuse it with hate speech?
Look, just to be clear, I mean, you asked me what my personal view is. Am I personally bothered by someone using racial slurs on social media? I'm not. Should social media companies be allowed to moderate their platform and maintain a certain level of community discourse for their audience? I think absolutely.
We agree.
So we certainly agree on that. Now the question is, Is it a better world where extremists love to expose their views online? Now, there's not much real value added by someone using a racial slur other than them being exposed as being a racist. But if someone wants to go out there and put out a racially controversial opinion, in my opinion, it's better that that be challenged and be given pushback and countered than it is for them to simply not be allowed to say their piece. There's a great debate from the early 80s between conservative personality William F. Buckley Jr. and African-American economist Thomas Sowell on the claims that were made about the correlation between race and IQ. And Dr. Sowell goes out there and he refutes the claims and he goes step by step. And now, would we have a debate like that today on television? Would we have it out there on social media? It's a very controversial topic. Unfortunately, there are a small minority of people who still believe these stupid, discredited ideas. And I think it's better that they're given the opposite end of the spectrum than that is completely shuttled out.
My brother, literally, that debate is on YouTube. So you just proved my point and disproved your own. Yes, that debate exists right now.
And I'm glad it does.
Okay.
That debate is just an example of the kind of speech that you want to allow on there. Now,
and it's allowed. My point is, it's already there. And here's the other point: there's a difference between hate speech and racially sensitive political or social debates. Let me give you an example. Charlie Kirk, he says things all the time that I think are racist and bigoted. He's not deplatformed. Candace Owens says things, she literally called the black culture a trash culture. She has not been deplatformed. These individuals who engage in racially sensitive, hot button debates are not deplatformed because of their position. What we're talking about is the egregious. We're talking about the use of the N-word. We're talking about the use of slurs that are anti-LGBTQ. We're talking about actual systems that are in place that say, hey, this is going over the line. What you're describing, brother, is already allowed on social media. And if it wasn't, they would have deplatformed the conservative talkers a long time ago. These individuals are still on social media. Marjorie Taylor Greene, even though she has been suspended before, she is still on social media. Matt Gaetz is still on social media. My point to you is this: if you're saying that we need to live in a society where censorship is not a thing, well, you're, and I know you're not saying that now, but it seems like when you came on the show, that's what you were saying. Who's going to regulate this? If you're saying that censorship needs to be more relaxed, well, who would relax it? The government or the private company? Who would be in charge of relaxing the standard? Let me ask you that.
The private companies, and often they respond to political pressure when they increase their censorship. But look, you're right. There is, that content is permitted, that content is out there. My concern, because those are examples where it remains up there. There's a lot of content though that would technically be permitted, that when social media companies have tried to censor extremist content, they've actually ended up taking down. I'll give you examples. In 2011, YouTube put an algorithm in place to get rid of violent videos. It ended up removing videos that were exposing human rights abuse in the Middle East. Now, Twitter took down the account of a Chinese researcher last year who had put out a study. It had some flaws, but it made the claim that the Chinese government might have engineered the virus in a lab and it leaked. Today, Anthony Fauci, the head of the WHO, agree that it's entirely plausible that this virus could have escaped from a lab. The Chinese government will not allow any sort of investigation of it. So Twitter inadvertently ended up doing the bidding of an evil authoritarian foreign regime.
Okay,
We've seen debate on ivermectin, which is a medicine that some governments like Japan and India recommend for COVID-19, the US doesn't. Debate on that, which I think is a fair debate to have, that's been censored and content has been taken down.
Well, brother, think about it. The only place I've seen that debate is on social media. That's what's interesting about your argument. Everything you're talking about as content on my show right now is literally content on social media, okay? Yes, there's regulation, and yes, there has been some mistakes. Yes, people get caught up in the algorithm, they should not. But you can't say, hey, because they get it wrong sometimes, let's eliminate the entire rule, all right? That's like saying because every murderer doesn't get caught, let's go ahead and get rid of the statute of murder. You don't do that. The rule is the rule, and the rule by and large is a protection more so than a hindrance. Do you not agree when you weigh this thing apples and apples that it is better to have a regulatory system in a space that has this much freedom of speech expressed so that you don't harm, especially young people, in the process of social dialogue?
I'm not against the idea of moderation. I'm not against the idea of moderating content to protect young people on a platform that permits minors to be on there. And I'm not for changing the existing rule system. I think Section 230 works pretty well, and it has enough exceptions in place that you can still moderate, even though it encourages free discourse. So I think that's a good thing. My point is we shouldn't be pushing them even further in the direction of censorship, because pushes have resulted in the stuff backfiring, stifling debate. Now, I agree that that conversation is still going on in some degree, but the fact is, by Facebook's own measure, that misinformation filter that they put on, which often turns out to be wrong, the information ends up being correct, that deters 7 out of every 10 people from clicking through and looking at the link. So there is some level of censorship currently taking place, perhaps not as much as there could be, but pushing this further that direction not gonna help people. The second point I'll quickly make is often intelligence agencies, law enforcement rely on these platforms because there are idiots out there who express their views and say, hey, I'm going to go to this place this time, I'm going to do this. Often law enforcement have used these platforms as a way to track down these people, arrest them before they do bad things. When the Capitol Hill riot happened, the FBI let the Capitol Police know, hey, look, this is what's going to happen. We have information. And the security was completely lax. And the chief, I believe the chief of the DC Capitol Hill Police had to resign right after that. So there's some tough questions that need to be asked, but there is a value to, at the very least, people being able to express that they hold these views and they plan to act on them, because that's how you go out there and you're able to stop them.
There's some synergy between you and I on that. I've actually said on my show before that I don't want the government I don't want the government involved in this in any way. And I don't want private companies to simply deplatform people because they have a connection to a group. And the reason I said that is because of what you just mentioned, that many times they actually lead to a break-in investigation so that there can be a connection between what they placed on social media and also the action they plan to carry out. However, once they start engaging in actual plans to harm others, inciting riots, utilizing racial slurs, that is different, all right? That is active engagement. It's not just a loose association or connection, and I think that's where we should draw the line. I want to remind everyone of the hypocrisy of Trump's lawsuit, because literally Trump and his class action cronies are saying that they want deregulation. They don't want regulation in the social media private company markets, while at the same time filing a lawsuit so the courts can regulate those same companies. It's the greatest hypocrisy in a lawsuit I've seen in a long time. And to remind everyone of the First Amendment, it says Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging the freedom of speech. It says Congress. The last time I checked Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, they are not the United States Congress. I will allow you to have the last word, brother. Thank you for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And look, fake news, extremism, misinformation, they're a fact of life, they're a fact of society. And no matter what we do going forward, it's very important that we let people know that the world is a weird and messed up place. Extremists aren't just hiding in their mom's basement away from society. They walk among us, and most of them will not admit to your face what their views are. Sunlight is usually always the best disinfectant. And while we should certainly moderate these platforms, keep them safe places for children who go on there, at the end of the day, we do want to make sure that these people are out there where we can detect them and we can tackle them head on as a society.
All right, brother, let me ask you this simple question before we part. Has there been an increase in racist or racially motivated attacks since social media, or decrease?
I'm not sure, I haven't seen these.
It's been an increase, brother. Go to FBI.gov and you will find it, all right? I appreciate you being on the show. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, remember to watch Reactions with Rayvon. I see that my producers thought I forgot. Also, remember, take care of yourself, take care of each other, take care of the planet. Remember, the truth is always indisputable.